In this video, I'm going to be discussing the differences between the standard carbine stainless steel action spring, or I'll refer to as buffer spring, and the enhanced springs that are available on the market, specifically the chrome silicon springs, and what the differences are and the advantages, and why it's a worthwhile upgrade. So what we're looking at right now is a Spikes Tactical 17.7 stainless steel spring and a JP Enterprises chrome silicon spring here that's actually still in the package. Now the JP, there's several different companies who make enhanced carbine chrome silicon buffer springs. Two of them that I've been looking at is the JP Enterprises and the LaRue. And I've got the JP Enterprises here because I'm going to give that a try. I'm also planning on getting the LaRue and trying that one. So let's start out with I guess some simple basics. A mil-spec AR type of rifle would have a if it has a mil-spec buffer spring in it, that spring would be a stainless steel, most likely a 17-7 stainless steel spring. Those by themselves, depending upon who you purchase those from, they're about $10, give or take. And why is that a mil-spec item? Well, the military, I believe this goes back to Vietnam, when the military was speccing out these types of rifles and the parts. They specced out the stainless steel, not for its heat resistance, from what I understand. They were speccing it out for its corrosion resistance. Specifically in the marshes of Vietnam, they had rust problems. So that type of specification has kind of carried all the way over to our current time. Is stainless steel the best choice? For corrosion resistance, yes. For long-term durability, no. And so, you know, the military looks at these types of springs just like magazines. It's an expendable commodity. It's usable for a certain number of uses or a number of cycles, and then they expect you to throw it away and get another one. So that's the trade-off, is they trade off long-term durability for corrosion resistance. Now a chrome silicon spring is going to last 3, 4, 5 times as long than a stainless steel spring. But the downside to that is a chrome silicon spring can rust. So if you have one of those in your rifle and you go swimming with your rifle, you probably would want to take your rifle completely apart and take everything out and dry it thoroughly. So that's basically your trade-off. And a chrome silicon spring is gonna be twice as expensive as a stainless steel spring. So figure like something like the JP Enterprises, you're looking at about $20 versus $10 for the Spikes Tactical spring. So I know the next question you're gonna be asking is, well, how long do the springs last for? And that is a subjective number, and that number kind of varies depending upon the type of rifle, the type of gas system, the type of ammunition. There's a lot of variables that come into play determining how long you can expect your buffer spring to last. I'll share some of my own experiences, and I'll share some experiences of my associates, but it's not an all-inclusive opinion. So in reality, you can expect a standard stainless steel buffer spring to last anywhere between 2,000 rounds and 9,000 rounds. I've had springs, these stainless steel springs, I've had them crap out with 2,500 rounds on them, me personally. Other people have gotten 4,000 or 5,000 rounds out of them. I don't know of anybody who's gotten more than 5,000 rounds out of one of these springs. That's me personally, though. So I don't know everybody's experiences, so it's not gospel. I can only equate for my own experiences. So what I do with my springs is I'll do a check of my spring every 2,000 rounds. That's assuming I'm doing a round count. If I go to a range, if I'm at the range and I'm shooting, I normally have some sort of a dope book with me that I record the date and how many rounds I shoot, and that's just for my own information. So if I go to a range and I shoot 500 rounds, I'll mark that in a little notebook, and I kind of keep track of those things. And every 2,000 rounds, I'll check on the spring. And if you can't tell a difference while you're shooting, you can take the spring out and you can measure it. And if you go by the military, their M16, M4 technical manual, they refer to that as a unit and direct support maintenance manual. They state to replace the spring when it is shorter than 10 and 1/16 inches long. So figure this spike spring, a brand new one of these is about 10.5 inches long. So there's your reference there. Brand new, it's 10.5 inches long. When it gets to 10 and 1/16 inches long, it's time to replace it. So that's a little background on the chrome silicon versus the stainless steel, and why the stainless steel is the mil spec. In my opinion, the chrome silicon spring is the better choice. I'm not swimming with my rifle. If my rifle does get wet, I will be taking my rifle apart and thoroughly cleaning it anyway. So as a civilian, that's something that I can easily do. I don't need the corrosion resistance that's offered by stainless steel. So the JP Enterprises buffer spring. This buffer spring, this new one here, is made from A401 chrome silicon wire stock. It's precision counterless ground and polished. It's 7% stronger over the standard rate spring. Now what that is supposed to do is it's supposed to improve impulse feel that results in faster sight recovery and improved reliability, and it's supposed to be smoother and quiet. So those are the benefits. I have not used this obviously yet, so I can't comment on those benefits. From talking with other people that have used these types of springs, these claims are true and correct. But I'll have to report back after I have a chance to use it myself. Now, the LaRue offering, which I don't have pictured here because I don't own one, LaRue offers a similar chrome silicon buffer spring that is made from A877 chrome silicon wire stock. So we have two different ones. We have A401 and A877. Now, digging into the type of material, the A877 is chrome silicon, and it's referred to as valve spring material. the same type of material used in NASCAR springs and NASCAR valve springs and so on. It is the best material to resist fatigue and setting. The second best, which is the commercial version, is the A401 chrome silicon spring. So from what I can gather with my initial research, the JP Enterprises spring uses the lesser quality chrome silicon spring. The LaRue uses the best, highest quality chrome silicon spring on the market, spring material on the market. One last thing I should note on the differences between chrome silicon and stainless steel. I don't think this is an issue, and I don't think this was something that the military relied upon when they chose stainless steel. But the 17-7 stainless steel can handle temperatures up to 600 degrees. The chrome silicon handles temperatures to 475. So there is a pretty large temperature variance between those two materials. I can't imagine a buffer spring and a buffer tube getting that hot. There aren't really any, gases back in that area, and if you shoot 90 rounds rapid fire through, an AR at the range, you're not going to touch your barrel because it's going to be really hot. I've touched buffers after exercises like that, and they weren't even warm. So I don't think the temperature variation had any play, but I figure since I found that during my research, I'd mention it. So the LaRue actually on their website, when they talk about their Super Duty spring, I think they call it something like that. They make some other claims. They claim that their spring shortens the lock time, provides constant spring pressure throughout the duty cycle of the spring, which is true because it'll last a lot longer, and it doesn't take a set like stainless steel does. LaRue also says faster sight recovery and stability. They say minimal set, which is true because it's chrome silicon. Chrome silicon, when it's manufactured and it's formed, that's when the set takes place. So once you load down a chrome silicon spring, it's not going to take another set, whereas stainless steel will. That's the drawback with stainless steel also. LaRue also says their buffer spring has a greater resistance to heat-induced performance degradation and a reduced long-term cost, which is true because a chrome silicon spring is probably going to last you 50,000 rounds. So it's going to be it's going to last 5, 6, 7 times as long as a stainless steel spring. So depending upon how long you have your rifle and how many rounds you shoot through it. LaRue says that their spring is an excellent choice for short-barreled rifles all the way down to 7.5-inch barrel lengths. They also say that their chrome silicon buffer spring is heat-treated, stress-relieved, shot-peened after winding, and it's plated with a deep penetrating, remicronized moly formula. Both the LaRue and the JP springs, they do improve the impulse feel. They do help in faster sight recovery and improved reliability. They're also smoother and quieter, so you don't have that raspy spring sound inside of your buffer tube. They're much quieter because it's a flat round material. Now I can't verify those particular claims just yet because I haven't done anything with this JP spring at this point. This is more or less how the spring ships in this plastic wrap, and it has a piece of paper wrapped around it. This talks about centerless ground, polished, smoother feel, quieter operation when charging the rifle. Spring rate is tuned for positive feedback and improved recoil feel. And there's different ones for carbine and different ones for rifles. So that's more or less what that little piece of paper says right there. You can also see that there is a, you can see the spring difference between the two by looking at this end over here. And I just have this buffer sitting here, just in case you're wondering. I have the buffer sitting there because without the buffer, the springs start rolling off this little platform I have. So, you know, the same concept of the chrome silicon spring versus the stainless steel spring also applies to the springs used in your lower parts kits as well as your magazines. I think the other area of improvement is the magazine spring. I did cover this a bit in a previous video where I was discussing the C Products magazines, since they use a chrome silicon spring. I think those are pretty much all the talking points I had written down here. So if you're going to choose a buffer spring at this point, the chrome silicon is the superior material from my research for use as a buffer spring as well as a magazine springs. And there's at least two different types of chrome silicon steel that's used, the A401 and the A877. And you know, I had to really dig into this. This wasn't information I could find looking in rifle technical manuals. I actually had to get into steel valve spring manufacturing technical documents to find out the different types of chrome silicon steel. That's where a lot of this technical information comes from, is the valve springs used in cars. There's lots of technical data, and these types of materials are used for making valve springs in cars, or at least the A877 material is. So this JP is a step up over the stainless steel. I think the LaRue, using the A877 chrome silicon steel, is a step up from the JP Enterprises. So I actually picked this one up because I had another order with a distributor for some other parts, and I picked this up just so I could take a look at it and do a review. But I'm actually probably not going to run this in my own rifle. I'm going to pick up the LaRue and actually run that in my rifle. But I wanted to do a video here and share some of the technical information that I found out in the event that you're looking at a different buffer spring and you were having difficulties in determining which one to purchase. So at this point, it looks to me, I know there's numerous ones out there, but the LaRue looks like the ticket, and that's going to be my next purchase, is to pick up one of the LaRue buffer springs, and I'm going to run that in my rifle. So I'm gonna I'll come back and I'll do a update to this video when I get the LaRue spring in, and provide my results and what I think after using it at the range.